Professor Dave here. I want to tell you about the subjunctive.
He knows a lot about all kinds of stuff. Professor Dave explains.
The concept of the subjunctive mood, or il congiuntivo, is very important in Italian, and it is often difficult to understand for English speakers, because in English, this mood is either avoided or simply not recognized, as it will be identical to the indicative. But in Italian, this mood is commonly used, both in speaking and in writing. So before we learn all the conjugations, let's first just make sure we understand what the subjunctive mood is and when to use it. The indicative is the mood of objective reality. This would be a statement like, Luigi works in a bank. This is a fact. It refers to an agreed-upon reality and is totally objective. Sentences that would imply the subjunctive mood are ones that involve a subjective reality. This is the mood of opinions and feelings, doubts and possibilities, hopes and fears. So if we had to summarize the purpose of the subjunctive mood in a sentence, we could say that the subjunctive describes what people think, hope, believe, or wish, rather than the indicative, which describes things as they are. Using the previous example, let's modify the fact that Luigi works in a bank and instead say the following. I think that Luigi works in a bank. I suggested to Luigi that he work in a bank. I hope that Luigi works in a bank. It is possible that Luigi works in a bank. Again, notice that none of these sentences propose that Luigi's employment at a bank is a concrete reality. We just get an image of Luigi working at a bank that is a wish or a possibility. In Italian, when this is happening, we use the subjunctive. The first thing to understand about using subjunctive in Italian is to remember that while in English we can omit the conjunction that, Italian will not. Where English can use that, Italian will use che. With this understood, let's now go over the types of verbs that will commonly require the use of the subjunctive, imagining the word che following each of them to give phrases like I believe that or I doubt that. First, we have verbs of opinion. Credo, penso, dubito, ho l'impressione, mi sembra, mi chiedo, nego, suppongo. Then there are verbs of command or wish. Voglio, desidero, esigo, insisto, prego, suggerisco, spero, preferisco, vieto. Then there are verbs of emotion. Temo, ho paura, sono contento, sono deluso, sono triste, mi dispiace, sono sorpreso, sono fiero. Then there are impersonal expressions. È bene, è male, è giusto, è ingiusto, è possibile, è impossibile, è meglio, è importante, è necessario, è un peccato, può darsi, è logico, è assurdo, è ridicolo, è pazzesco. So these are all the verbs and phrases that we could use that would require subjunctive. Let's quickly mention that subjunctive will not be used when the subject of the main clause and the subject of the dependent are the same. That would be like in the sentence, I am afraid that I am not going to make it. It's true that I am afraid that is a verb describing fear, so it is part of the emotion list. But in order to be followed by the subjunctive, the subject in the dependent clause must be different from the subject in the main clause. This could mean saying something like, I am afraid that you won't make it. She is afraid that they won't make it, and so forth. This is an important rule, so remember it. Other phrases that are phrases of certainty also will not use subjunctive. These are phrases like so che, ho letto che, ho sentito che, è chiaro che, sono convinto che, or vuol dire che. But this does not apply for the negative, which would add to the doubt. For example, so che si sono trasferiti a Roma, indicative. Non sono convinto che si siano trasferiti a Roma, subjunctive. So as we said, subjunctive is a mood that implies subjectivity, opinion, fear, desire, and so forth. This is different from the indicative, which implies objectivity, or things as they are. Without getting hung up on the philosophical implications of Italian grammar, let's move on from this new understanding of the subjunctive mood and use the next few tutorials to go through all the tenses that are used with the subjunctive. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Support me on Patreon so I can keep making content. And as always, feel free to email me, ProfessorDaveExplains@gmail.com.